Let's move on to the next talk. And most Rails apps handle complexity just by adding code, and our next speaker has spent past 15 years seeing where that leads, and he eventually decided to discover some other approaches, which is the flow architecture. So he decided to build a message bus, to put it in production, and eventually wrap it in a gem. So let's welcome on stage Ljubomir Marković with his talk. Here's your water.
This is fun. Is this live? Hello everyone, let's do this. So I want to start off by saying I really appreciate being in a room with smart and sensible people. And I want to say it straight off the bat that I ain't smarter than any one of you, and just because I'm here presenting something doesn't mean I'm better than any of you in any way. So in the, I'm very sorry. Nope. This should be full screen. So the last few years I've invested myself in understanding what IT architecture is all about, and it's I feel a bit small, coming after chat and trying to speak about architecture. And I'm in my early 40s, so I've been in the Ruby ecosystem around the time Ruby Enterprise Edition was interesting. And this presentation is really a long overdue thank you to the community that I really appreciate and wanted to be a part of. So I want to start off just by seeing like if there's a generational gap between us. Do you know who this guy is? Yes. Can you raise your hand? No, you're my people. Now, Jimi Hendrix was my childhood hero, and the picture you're seeing him in is from his best-sold album called Are You Experienced? And there's a reason why it's his best-sold album, because, our brain is looking for all these shortcuts, and, you hear word experience, and you know that it's something that you can't really fake. You can imagine fire, you can read about the fire, you can watch videos of it, but it's not the same as if you get burned. So architecture is like that. We have this idea of architecture that we've borrowed from an existing field when this word came alive. So we were looking at what are the scientists out there that would deal with customers, and they would help them come up with a custom solution for their needs. And architecture was sort of close to the idea of how we wanted to interact business-wise. This word has come a long way, and right now we're talking about it in a way that's means this really glorified thing that, a lot of smart people have invested their time into this idea of this perfect architecture, but there is no perfect architecture. If you're serving a customer, if you're serving a business, you're serving a business need, and sometimes that business need is small. Sometimes it's just a CRUD app, and it's a rail scaffold with lipstick, and that's what the business needs. Around the time that Jimmy released his debut album, there was this idea of the flow architecture. And so they were trying to figure out, how to make these resilient systems, and they tried to describe the system more an approach like what moves through it than what controls it. And they thought of these loosely coupled components, and to use messages instead of direct calls, because that's how you would minimize knowing of the other thing, and they had this idea that nothing is really hardwired to anything else. I borrowed this from the Reactive Manifesto, because there's a manifesto for everything. So when you start thinking about these things, you're usually thinking about how to adopt something that maybe has a huge influx of users in a singular moment. You need elasticity. How it can be resilient, like how to protect some data if the electricity falls out. You're as smart as you can be, but you pull the plug out and you're stuck mid some process, and you could leave. You can arrive in an unhealthy data state, and you'd have to figure this out. And this is what they try to tackle with this fluent architecture, this reactive architecture. But this isn't a new idea. I mean, this is 50 years old, but there was this guy that talked about it a long time ago in a book called Tao Te Ching. And there was this idea of flow and of understanding nature through observing nature. Being humble in a way that you see a picture and understand that you don't see a full picture, and that you're an observer of this thing, and that you should be humbled by just being able to witness it. And what he wrote back then, has a lot of correlation to what we think of architecture right now, like this really resilient architecture. And also to how we approach, handling these large projects. He had ideas like governing a large country is like frying a small fish. You can easily overdo it, and you can apply these ideas philosophically to what we are trying to achieve when we try to manage a flow of data, manage a resilient system that is able to endure all sorts of things that are thrown at it. Yeah, and you did it 2,500 years before the school. So systems evolve. You start off working for some business, and you start off writing maybe an idea of code that serves that business, and what you're looking at is completely good code. Does it serve the business? Does it do what the business needs at that moment? It's all right. Don't touch it. But the businesses, when they do things right, they grow. And you just start piling up features. And this neat little thing that was a couple of lines of logic that was easily comprehended back then becomes this thing that needs, translation. This thing that needs a lot of cognitive load just to be comprehended. And this is still good code. And the only thing is, there comes a day when you find out you need to add 5 more features to a code that you can't really test because there's so many combinations of things that you need to do. It's not just 5, and then you need to add 6, and then you start having a heart attack. So then you try to maintain this beast, and you try to see, okay, what have the smart minds of that have been working at these things for decades figured out, and so they try to. Then you try to apply an idea of flow that you can orchestrate smaller bits of complexity through a single entry and achieve the same business results and make these resilient. So this is where the idea of buzz comes in. So we had this word, the buzz, the event buzz. We had it for around 60 years, and it comes from hardware. So the basic idea was that you have like components that are connected, but and that can receive and emit signals, but that aren't tightly coupled. They don't know about each other's stuff. They know what they need to do, and they can say, "I did this." So, guys, get ready. The bus is coming, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna look at a naive implementation of a bus. So, this is a Stanley Kubrick moment, another name drop, 2001: Space Odyssey. I'm gonna, fake the effects. It's like, dun 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 dun. So this is the basic idea of a bus. You have mutex, you have subscribers, you have a thread that's running in a loop and popping up events of the queue and dispatching them. This is the whole thing. Is it production ready? No, it's a sketch. But the thing is, we talk about these event buses and these flows so seriously that sometimes you miss that this is it. This is basically it. This is what it does. So you want to say, doesn't Rails already do this? You hear about publish and subscribe, and they have this inner mechanics of their instrumentation of how they report stuff, but this is still synchronous. And when you try to build some resiliency, the idea is that you try to handle these events in an asynchronous manner. But what the code you saw earlier is what got me started thinking okay, how could I make this little bit of code production ready? So I wanted immutable events. I was thinking about back pressure, because you can, if you're not actively looking at something like a queue, it could easily explode. And this idea of flow is that you want to be ahead of things and know things before they break. And you could stop a process from overwhelming the business logic you're trying to apply. You could. You want asynchronous execution, and you don't want that actions of one handler affect another handler if it's a thing on its own, that it can process a thing on its own. You want graceful shutdown. If this isn't the case of an electricity outage, and you're switching Docker instances, you still want your business processes to be in a healthy state, and you want whatever's in the queue to process completely. And you want to test in production parity, so you want to still do these things synchronously in a test environment, and not be waiting for a test to execute with polling. So what started off with me thinking about how could I simplify event buses to be easily understood, started to evolve into a gem called TCB. So I had this idea in mind that I understood quite a bit of domain-driven design at some point, and I was thinking, this event bus, if I made it ready for production, I could actually use it to present a domain in a single file. So I had this idea from domain storytelling, where they try to show you an image of some process, of some interactivity of an actor with the system that produces some state, some event. And I wanted this to be on a textual level. So with a minimal syntax, how could I accentuate the domain language that's already there? So I came up with TCB. And this is sort of what it looks like. When you talk about a domain, when you talk about domain-driven design in Rails, we really, I'm not sure, maybe I haven't found it, but the guardrails aren't really there. There isn't like a convention you can easily follow without understanding the full thing, and I wanted to make it really obvious of what processes are going on in a single domain by presenting a structure like this, where we'd have commands, events, some notation for which events are persisted, some notation for how you approach handling commands and how you approach reactions. So basically, these are systems that you would use when you would have multiple entry points, and you would want to narrow down the entry pathway into your business logic, and you would say, okay, I'm gonna dispatch a command, and it's gonna do its thing. It's gonna handle a command that's gonna be synchronously executed by a single handler, and that command is going to write things, and it's going to respond with one or more events that it produced by executing this business logic, and there are going to be reactions to this event. And so I wanted to have a full notation of this tree of things that happened when you spawned up a domain event, when you spawned up the command. So I wanted to go a bit out of the e-commerce world and do something fun that, because I'm not sure how many of you really relate to sales and warehousing logic and things like that. But so let's look at something fun. Let's look at a drum sequencer. Yeah. This picture graphic language that I talked earlier about, I'm going to show it here in action. So what I built in the first phase, it's a user clicks a cell that makes a request to a controller that publishes the pattern toggled event that gets pushed to the bus, and the bus reacts with a refreshed cell call, which makes a turbo stream update and updates the cell. This technology was completely unnecessary for this to work, but this is serving a demo purpose. So the next path is the upgrade of that would be that I would, persist the state. If you didn't just click, you didn't just emit an event, but you actually made you wrote something on the back end. So the user would click a cell, make a request to the controller, it would get pushed to the bus, and TCB would handle it with a persist pattern handler, which would write to the database and emit an event to the bus, and that would then get reacted to by lighting up a cell on the RAM sequencer. So let's just look how this looks. Okay, it's not that very exciting, but now I just want to show you this domain real quick. So this is what it does so far. It toggles the pattern, publishes. This is what the domain would look like. So it would activate the cell, this thing would validate the command input, and it would persist. And it would, in the end, react with pattern toggled. But right now, without changing any of the existing logic, what this idea of the flow architecture, what it's trying to solve, is that you would add new features without touching existing features. So if I did this, if I add just another reaction to the thing, I didn't really change much more than a line and added logic to display some more text. I'm just going to show exactly what I mean with the bus. So this part is still the same as it was before, that we persist an event and react with a refresh call. But now we also have another thing that's going on, and when the bus reacts on that event, it's going to react also on the with a say it loud handler and make another turbo stream update. So when we play this thing now, sorry. Now we have extra elements going on the screen without actually touching the logic that was previously there. Okay. So this talk is nearing the end. I hope I haven't taken too long. What I want you to take home is events are facts. There are things that occurred. They can be as easy as just using past tense. Events should be immutable. This shouldn't be something that changes after it's emitted. Commands are decisions. They should express what you want to do. They should be in present tense. They should offer a validation with a known result, and each command should have only one handler. That's a business rule that's very useful to have. So this is strange, I built this thing. I like it. I use it in my production app, but I'm still not actively advocating it because it's an indirection to needs. If you don't really need to handle elasticity, if your business needs don't call for such things, don't add indirection to what you're writing. Make code obvious to yourself, because you're gonna maintain it. And you know, if something's worth maintaining, maybe you will get to this state where something like this might be appealing to you. So yeah, you need to look through this lens, like, can you add behavior faster? Can you understand consequences more clearly? If it's affirmative, it's justified, do it. Otherwise, it just adds another indirection layer. It adds elegant complexity. You know, I'm glad this is behind me. I'm Ljubo, and I'm an independent consultant, and the last few years I've invested in becoming a domain expert in a field that I wasn't that curious before, and it's the field of psychology, positive psychology and performance psychology. And just before I came here, I released the Where to Focus app that sort of encompasses this. If you're a self-actualized person looking to improve their daily habits, I encourage you to visit and check what I came up. This is me. See you on I'm very, very, very grateful for the opportunity to have been here and to have been among my heroes and among people that I shared, that I mostly read books from, and now I'm sort of sharing the stage with. That's it for me. Thank you.